Okay. All right, just let me know when you're ready. Right. Oh, great. All right. Oh, okay, great. Okay, he's online? He's online. Oh, that's good. We'll start with. All right. We'll start. I want that stuff to report. Yeah, because one so we go ahead with the reporting already. Before we do that, I'm going to call on the panelists on the high table. I'm going to call Dr. Anu Abalogun. Please join us on the high table. And Professor. You don't want to join? All right. All right, please join us on the table. And then we also have here Funke Awodia from Afe Babangida University. And then we have Ulushola Samuel Akintude, who I believe should be online, joining us. Thank you so much. And we have Adebayo Adewusi. I hope he's joining us online too. So here, we'll go ahead and have our Fuji artist, Mr. Maximum, the Fujician. He's coming all the way from Ekiti. Ijebu-Ode is coming all the way from Ijebu-Ode to join us on this panel. Please, welcome with me, Mr. Maximum.
Fuji mi, ole kuko le chao.
Miss Funke, Awodia, who will be presenting Child Streetism and Fuji Music Transformation in Olubunmi Familoni's The Road Does Not End. So you are going to have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I feel so excited right now. That was a very good way to start this because I was tense for so many reasons. Why this is going on? I have another panel and I have so many struggles how to concentrate. So first, I wish the author is here. It was around yesterday. The book and the author, my first slide, is talking about a book that was shortlisted for the Nigerian Prize for Literature and won the prize of $100 million last year. And the main character of the book, okay, first of all, the book is for children, categorized as children literature, and it brought to limelight the struggles of the Nigerian street child. And child streetism is a term used to describe the condition of children living and walking on the streets, often as a result of poverty, neglect, and displacement. The book, The Road Does Not End, was able to showcase the problems facing the Nigerian street child. Okay, my objective for looking at this book and bringing it to this panel is first to explore displacement caused by death of parents to children, to examine informal economic and street survival, and also to identify the role Fuji music played in the transformation of the street child. A lot of people have talked about child streetism. Studies have shown that there are common characteristics of street children, which is poverty, poor quality of life, and factors that push them to the streets are like strained family relationship and so many others. However, the characteristics of street children might vary depending on individual circumstances. So The theme of displacement and childhood poverty is always talking about marginalization and this problem that displaced children face on the street. So now, discussion and analysis of Bumi Familoni's The Road Does Not End is taking a form of what I'll call the qualitative research methods, reading and looking at the content of everything the author is trying to showcase. And the major theme for that work, for me, what I'm able to interpret is that Fuji music serves as a voice and vehicle for transformation. So let's take us briefly into the book. The book is talking about a main character, a child who lost his parents unknown to him at the age of 5. He went to school one day and he returned. He couldn't find mommy and daddy, and he met a lot of people in his house. From that moment, he became someone who was taken somewhere else outside his own family place. So unfortunately, the auntie who took over his upbringing is poor. So he introduced Really One to street hawking. Really One started hawking on the streets. And as a habit here, when his parents died, he was thrown into the street through hawking. Fuji was his handcuff. It was Fuji that woke me up in the morning. Somebody nearby was playing Taye currency music from his phone. And a bit of background about who Really One's father is. He was a drummer from the lineage of drummers. So from childhood, Really One had been introduced to drumming and fusion music to the extent that he knows all the names of Fuji musicians of his time as a child. So resistance and transformation was echoed in Olubumi's work through the dreams of the street children in his book and show how dream was refashioned through Fuji music. I got paid at every table I stopped to sing. Some of the men even listened while the women smiled and clapped. What happened is that while everyone was walking on the streets, anywhere someone is playing music, he stays there to watch. And Locke smiled at him when he met Pepe, who was a manager of a popular Fuji musician called Alhaji Danko. And Alhaji Danko realized that he had talent and he became a child musician playing Fuji music. So the theoretical framework for my work is Tohos Cultural Studies, Kirot Cultural Studies. And that's talking about an academic discipline that emerged in the mid-20th century, focusing on understanding culture in its various forms through media, literature, arts, and everyday life. As a theoretical hinge for this paper, the role of cultural identity in the lived experience of Real One as a son of a drummer and a founding Fuji musician is drawn from that cultural studies. Real One decodes Fuji music in a way that validates its lived experience and helps him to navigate the harsh realities of street life on one of Nigeria's urban centers. In conclusion, Familoni was able to project Fuji music as a social intervention and a tool for social transformation in the life of street children. And these affirm that Fuji music, music generally, and Fuji music in particular, is not just for entertainment, it is a cultural anchor. The author dived deep into the character's mind to depict the emotional and psychological feelings of being accepted. And I have a line from the book that says, when I held the microphone and looked down at the sea of faces, I knew I was home. No doubt. Olubumi's The Road Does Not End is a book that will contribute to discussion on understanding child treatism and the social implications. I'm going to end this presentation with a quote that says, the presence of every single poor child on the street means a defeat for mankind. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Funke. We really appreciate your depth on this presentation. We are going to have all the presentations, and afterwards we'll take questions all together so we can maximize our time on this. So I'm going to call on the next presenter. I think he's online. He's going to join us online. Yeah, please, if you're online, please let us know if you are here with us. You are presenting, so you can. Mr. Olushola Samuel, are you ready for us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great.
I'm ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you are going to, you have 15 minutes for your presentation. You are presenting to us today, Vulgarity and Morality in Contemporary Fuji Music, an ethical consideration for Fuji musicians by Olushola Samuel Akintunde. Please, you have 15 minutes and your time starts now.
Can you please permit me to share my screen? I think, can the host permit me to share my screen, please?
Oh, sure. Yes. Go ahead and do that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll be talking on the topic vulgarity and morality in contemporary Fuji music, ethical considerations for child musicians. Fuji music, a popular genre primarily originating from Nigerian Muslim communities, has evolved significantly over the decades, incorporating elements of social commentary, entertainment, and commercial appeal. Fuji music in some circles, as at now, is perceived to be from listening to it. This perception is based on the vulgarity of some of the lyrical content of the music. The emergence of a child prodigy in any vocation always draws attention to the child. It brings excitement. The lyrical content of Fuji music, as it were more of philosophical thoughts, aside praise singing or panegyrics and Yoruba poetry. However, contemporary Fuji music increasing commercialization has raised concerns about vulgarity and morality, particularly regarding child Fuji musicians. The aim of this study is to investigate the intersection of vulgarity and morals in contemporary Fuji music, specifically within the context of child Fuji musicians. It's also to take a critical look at the morality of potential child Fuji musicians in the face of accommodating vulgarism in Fuji music performance. What is vulgarity? Vulgarity centers around offensive or inappropriate, lewd, and erotic words. The word vulgarity originated from the Latin word vulgus, meaning common people. This suggests that vulgarity is associated with the masses rather than the elite in the society. Morality, on the other hand, refers to the principles and values that guide an individual's behavior, decision-making, particularly in relation to what is right and what is wrong. Fuji music. Existing studies have shown music genre in Nigeria originated from were, or what we call ajiwere music, a local religious music that is used for the purpose of waking Islamic faithfuls in Western Nigeria to prepare for fast during Ramadan fasting period. Were was later transformed into a popular dance music that would exist alongside other forms of Yoruba popular music by Alhaji Sikiru Ayinde Barrister, a foremost Were musician. In his effort to distinguish his style of music from other similar genres, he named it Fuji after seeing a poster of Mount Fuji in an airport. Fuji It's Japan's mountain of love and peace, by the way. Contemporary Fuji music. Empirical evidences have shown that Fuji music has evolved over the years. There are significant improvements in performance style, instrumentation, and other aspects. Females and children have ventured into Fuji music performance. Speaking on contemporary Fuji music, Kehinde 2003 observed that an average Fuji music is characterized with funkified, classical, sentimental intros and interludes. The instrumentation is characterized with modern musical instruments like saxophones, synthesizers, guitars, and so on. Unlike in the past, where members of a Fuji band are respected adults and family men, the crop of band members in most contemporary Fuji bands are youth. These use drugs before the show. They take India hemp in the open before the commencement of their performance. Has made Fuji music in the contemporary time to lose its respectable image. The following research question will guide this study. 1. To what extent is the shift in the quality of the lyrical content of Fuji music? 2. To what extent has the societal perception of Fuji music affected its appreciation? And 3. How has the lyrical content of Fuji music discouraged parents and guardians supporting children's ambition of becoming child Fuji musicians? This study is backed up with the theory, social learning theory, as propounded by Albert Bandura, 1977. Bandura, in his theory, proposed that learning occurs through observation, modeling, and imitation. These are influenced by factors such as environment, motivation, attitudes, and so on. This means that an individual can adopt an attitude or character based on interaction or a close observation of a phenomenon of interest. Applying this theory signifies that Fuji music as a genre has a sound, a voice, tonality, or inflection that distinguishes it from other genres. A child who is interested in performing it must listen to the release album or performances of older musicians and also model after them. Whereas some tracks in these albums contain profanities or immoral terms or slogans that are deemed not too good for children. The methodology adopted, this study is a survey, and the population used 100 respondents comprising of adults and teenagers. This population were randomly selected among the Yoruba tribe of Southwest Nigeria, where there is prevalence of Fuji music enthusiasts. The research instrument was questionnaire with 15 questionnaire items. It was built on a 5-point Likert scale rating of strongly agree, undecided, disagree, and strongly decided, disagree. The data were collated and organized in tables. It was analyzed using mean deviation. This is the presentation of the outcome, the result of the findings based on the 3 research questions. Discussion of findings. Comparatively and as evidently shown in the responses of respondents to the questionnaire, a shift in the lyrical content of contemporary Fuji music when compared to the original form, which was more of philosophical thoughts, praise singing, and so on. This has made it a not too safe genre for children and teenagers. The genre, having originated from a religious background, should have been an enduring genre with attributes of comportment. Past Fuji musicians use their music to promote religion, social values, and celebrations. However, the genre has degenerated into a genre where vulgar and erotic words are used. At the start of this millennium, Fuji music scene witnessed different child Fuji musicians This includes Shanko Rashidi, Wasiu Aiki, Container, Water, Konkolo Waliji, and so on. Most of these wonder kids graced the stage of contemporary Fuji music in the early 2000s, but they are no more heard of at the moment. And we wonder why. Could it be said that Fuji music is not an ideal genre for children? Vulgarity in contemporary Fuji music. Vulgar expressions that characterize contemporary Fuji music constitute very serious ethical problems among the youth and the society by extension. In some Fuji music tracks, one finds such lyrics as Jekin Lalaki, which can be loosely translated as "Let me fuck you." Jekin Tosibe, "Let me release into you." Omo your dear Arafeson, "Let me baby shoot your buttocks. Thunder is about to strike," and so on. Some of these can be found in the works of Janet Oluwatoyosi Ajilore, who is popularly called Saint Janet, and Abbas Akande, who is popularly called Obesere. In his opening lyrics in his album titled Ashakasha, released on 12th November 2010, Abbas Akande Obesere, one of the frontline contemporary Fuji musicians, sang, and I would like to play what he sang, the opening lyrics of that 2010. Here, the musician, the English interpretation of what he sang was, "Who is beating drum to your waist?" And the response was a Meandra child, although he called himself a Omorakmala, which I can loosely translate as a Meandra child, and Haji Obesere, a Meandra child. However, the title of that album, Ashakasha, in the first instance, literally means bad behavior or bad attitude or bad habit. Going forward, at song, he continued. He sang now, the English interpretation of what he sang there is, when you associate with a priest, you will know the Bible. When you associate with an Islamic cleric, you will know the Torah, which is a part of the Quran. When you associate with Papa, who is this musician himself, you will learn bad habits, because Papa is the king of bad behavior. Looking at the lyrics of the album in the example given above, no parent or guardian will encourage a child to venture into Fuji music, no matter how talented the child is. A survey of other contemporary Fuji music has shown the use of some words which are considered inappropriate in an ideal communication, most especially when it involves children, teenagers, and adolescents. Erotic words, slogans, and lewd words coming from a teenager are seen in a typical African society as signs of a badly trained child. There are just very few of Fuji musicians that have shown modesty in their musical composition and performances. Sigmund Freud, looking at the ethical considerations for child Fuji musicians, Sigmund Freud, 1905, in his epic work on psychosexual stages of development, proposed that personality development in childhood takes place during 5 psychosexual stages, which are the oral, anal, phallic, latency, and the genital stages. Freud used the term sexual in a general way to mean all pleasurable actions.
Mr. Olushola, you have 1 minute, 1 minute more to round up.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You have 1 minute to round up.
All right. Freud advise that individuals at each stages must be controlled to satisfy social demands in order to avoid conflicts between frustrated wishes and social norms. In conclusion, assumably, Fuji music, a genre that stems from religious music, should be a music that opposes moral and discipline. However, this research has shown that the genre in the present time has deviated from this. However, my recommendations are: one, established Fuji musicians should be conscious of the lyrical content of their music in order to extend its appreciation to children. Two, parents and guardians of interested child musicians should endeavor to censor the lyrical content of their music to ensure its appropriateness with their age. Three, agencies of government in charge of censoring should not only be fixated on themes and songs which content are against government policies. They should extend it to songs with vulgar words and especially in local languages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olushola Akitude, who has just presented to us vulgarity and morality in contemporary Fuji music, the ethical consideration for child Fuji musicians. Thank you so much for this very rich work. And hence we'll go to the next presenter. We want to see if he's online and ready. The next presenter will be Mr. Adebayo Adewusi. Fuji music, a tool for advancing public cause in Nigeria. He's not online. All right, since Mr. Adebayo Adewusi isn't online, I'm going to do my presentation, just a quick one. The work is still in progress, so I will welcome criticism on this one. The title of the work is Status Symbol, Fuji and Social Media Influence, a Human Behavioral Dimension. My name is Adegoke Olukayode from Lethbridge University and a visiting lecturer at Wesley University, Ondo. I will be looking at the behavioral dimension of Fuji music, the effect, especially in the virtual society. So, the introduction, the evolution of social media in the past 2 decades and its emergence as a veritable virtual society has received a curious interest in the study and understanding of human social behavioral patterns as a social animal. The advancement of knowledge in telecommunication technology and the corollary innovation of wireless phones and wireless transmission of wide bandwidth data over a high-speed internet connection with global reach in nanoseconds has revolutionized media communication in an unprecedented manner. Social media has evolved not just as a tool for connecting people and facilitating communication and information transmission. It has also assumed to a large extent the primary site for social interaction from small towns to global outreach. With the COVID pandemic in 2019 and the restriction in physical mobility and association, virtual interaction became imperatively welcome and globally accepted, even in less developed societies, as an alternative to the traditional means. So, by this shift, we now have a shift from the physical society into the virtual society, which I termed the social virtualization. So we are now, as we believe now, as it is almost accepted now, we are now in the virtual age. So the emerging digital space has created virtual communities, which in turn has transformed discourses surrounding social relations in the new age. Curious academic studies has emerged from social scientists as well as the social psychologists as to the nature and dimension of this new community in terms of its components and structure, as well as its transformative dimension. in the evolution of human behavior to shape and adapt the prevailing forces of the new age. As we shall see in this chapter, not only have humans evolved into what I term social-virtual animals, they have also reproduced the group culture as well as the social stratifiers, either to identify with the traditional social behavior. Hence, as we shall see, as social media society evolved in shape, in form, and dimension, there has emerged some form of virtual group culture, social class, social statuses, and its symbol, especially as it relates to the emergence of Fuji as a genre of Yoruba traditional music, and the curious stories surrounding its social media development, particularly its development, popularity, and acceptance to a global level amongst young demographics of Nigerians and beyond. So the aim of this study is to focus on the emergence of Fuji music into the virtual space and the symbolic influential status it has assumed, not just for the genre, but for its virtual fans, as well as the influencing nature this status has granted a population demographic that had either historically repudiated Fuji music or has been indifferent to it as a musical genre. The study underscores the role of status symbol emergence on virtual space as an influential behavioral tool. So we look at the conceptual framework, conceptual terms, the status symbol. What is status symbol? Sociology focuses on the study of group life because it is not just the building blocks for understanding traditional societies. It is also the window to studying and understanding the complexity of modern societies. One of the many ways they study this interaction is to understand the concept of social structures, positions, and status. That is the organization of society, including the social positions and the different resources attached to this position. Farley, 1997. Government calls this status as right and obligation which governs the behavior of a person acting in given social capacity. Goffman, 1951, page 294. Every human in a given society occupies a particular social status or more statuses, depending on the nomenclature or the personality of the person. A very good example is a single Nigerian mother who is working part-time at a bookstore and attends the University of Lagos, where she studies special education. She is not only a Nigerian, that is a status, she's a Nigerian. She is also a woman, that's another status. And also a single mother, and then an employee who is also a university student. Those are variety of status that the woman, the Nigerian woman has, who is also a single mother. So that is a typical example of status symbol in our society. So every one of us in our given society are attached with a specific or more than one or two status symbol. So furthermore, in each of these social positions, it determines her social status within that society, which she occupies and shares, not just herself, but shares with other people beside herself. In the example given above, there are other Nigerian single women who are also part-time employees studying special education at some university. Thus, she shares social status commonalities with these people, which means she is likely to share common experiences and behavioral reactions with them as well, just as the rest of them. Her ascribed status is being a Nigerian woman because she was born into it, while her achieved status is being a mother, an employee, and a student, because she had made tremendous efforts to achieve that. And that is accentuated by Linton in 1936, where he talks about the ascribed and the achieved status symbol in society. Also, these statuses have symbols that are ascribed to them, which by social design signifies its owner's high social and economic standing within a given society. So in sociology, social status is defined as the relative rank that an individual owes with attendant rights, duties, and lifestyle in a social hierarchy. So the notion of status symbols goes as far back as human history. And in Yoruba societies, we have examples of this status symbol: beaded crowns, elaborate traditional clothing, distinctive hairstyles, like we have the Ogun, we have the Shuku, which symbolizes a traditional Ogun worshipper, which we can immediately you see a man or a woman with Shuku, you identify that because that is the social status that is ascribed to that hairstyle. We also have tattoos, although we have moved from the pre-colonial area tattoo making into the modern, the colonized tattoo symbol makings, which also for now, we see, if you look at the symbols of modern tattoos, what we now have is a colonized, you see these tattoos that is being, it has been adopted now, are not purely traditional tattoos as we have from our mothers in the past. So these symbols, we also talk about tribal marks and body beautifications, as well as the use of specific objects like bronze castings and staffs of offices for the chiefs and the kings, royalty in general. These symbols were not merely decorative. They communicated social rank, political power, and religious affiliations, and our traditional religious systems. This set of social statuses and the symbols with which it is used as forms of identifiers, as well as the mutual and collective understanding and appreciation of its meanings. So quickly, let's also look at Fuji as an historical definition. Music is an everyday symbolic expression of the cultures and traditions of Yoruba people. It plays a pivotal role in the study of the historical development of the culture and traditions of the Yoruba society. So much that it is intertwined that you cannot talk about their social lifestyle, ceremonial festivals, political structures, belief system, and mode of worship, even food and cuisines, clothing styles, and beautification patterns, without talking about our music, our dances, and dramatization of these. So Fuji emerged in the later part of the 20th century as a product of the cultural marriage between Islam and traditional music genre of Etiyeri and Were. People have always talked about Were as the sole parent to Fuji music. We rarely talk about the role of Etiyeri because that is where Fuji got its traditional genre from. The general assumption is that Fuji originated from Were alone. While that is not far from truth, there are existing strong connections between Fuji and the Yoruba traditional cultural performances and dramatization of Etiyeri common among the Yoruba Egungun practitioners, especially in Oyo and in Ibadan. This was confirmed in the exclusive interview with King Saheed Osupa on YouTube, where he explained the historical origin of evolution of Fuji as a genre in 2001. So Fuji is a combination of Ajiwere, Ajisari, that's the performance of Were during the Sari, in traditional Islamic forms of music played by Muslims across Yoruba land during the month of Ramadan to alert their fasting members, families, and neighbors for Sahur, that is eating at dawn. Were gradually became accepted and popularized as a genre of music when some of early artists, mostly males, decided to further their musical practice professionally beyond 1 month of Ramadan window. And this music gradually became popular first among the Muslim community all over the southwestern part of Nigeria. And then by 1960, Dr. Sikuru Ayinde Barrister, who hitherto had established himself and his craft in the suburb of Lagos and Ibadan as Oniwere, that is Were musician, decided to deviate completely from the musical norms of the time. He then introduced into his music a different vocal tone and styles and musical instruments accompaniment, mostly percussions and heavy on traditional rhythm associated with Yoruba cultural chant and praise singing, with reliance on local drums and percussion, namely agogo, aro, sakara, shekere, gudugudu, omele, iyailu. So Fuji, through Dr. Sikuru and the Barrister, Fuji music actually became a genre on its own. And there have been controversies on Fuji and Fuji. These are two different musical expressions, and the attempt to confuse or match their origin is historically inaccurate, culturally dishonest, and deeply disrespectful to the creation of the work of Dr. Sikuru and the Barrister. There are some more of this which I don't want to go into because of my time. So, social media influencing the emergence of Fuji music into our social media came about from the early 90s, from the late 90s into the 20th century, 21st century, where we have young musicians adopting social media as a means of propagating and marketing their craft, as against what we have, where we have Fuji music in the slums of Mushin, to Itapaji in Lagos Island, to the suburbs of Ibadan and Ilorin. So Fuji music has gained prominence on social media, and this has attracted young Nigerians who had either to, before now, repudiated or just had been indifferent to Fuji music as a pop music. Now we have young demography, which this study is also looking at, is looking at the demography from the age of 35 to 18. These are young Nigerians, young demography of Nigerians in Nigeria and abroad, globally, who are now got more interest in Fuji music through the modernization of music and the fusion of music with new music, popular music, as we have in Afrobeat, the conjunction of Fuji with Afrobeat, with other genre of music that is accepted. So these are the synchronization, syncretism that this work looks at for the adoption of Fuji music into our mainstream virtual space. And now this has generated a lot of fandom, virtual fandom, to the point where most of the controversies you have now between Fuji musicians is almost centered online on virtual space, where there is what we have known to be the hierarchical controversy between Fuji musicians, especially the artists and their fans, have been adopted into the virtual space, whereby most of the controversies are being trended online, and most of the controversies helped to gain for Fuji music to gain prominence on virtual space. So these are most of the framework that this work is going to be looking at. So in conclusion, Fuji has gained prominence in virtual society now. Most of what we talk about on Fuji as a genre of music is on virtual society, except for especially among the young demographic who spend most of their time on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So those are what the work will be, we hope to study and look at. Thank you so much. That's of my time here. So we now take questions for the presentations. So I'll be calling on questions. Please, let's see your hands up. So you just you say your name and then go to your questions. Thank you so much. From yeah, please. Oh, ladies first. Let's do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to both of you. Really enjoyed that session. I'm not I enjoy
Yeah, thank you so much.
About this was so when was talking about vulgarity in the lyrics for children, and then he gave suggestion of how those can be considered as transition. Why those suggestions are new modern physical solutions are not. Now, what affects the ability of translation is society and rubber.
Yes.
Okay. So it is more, and children, they are very visual learners.
Yes.
And you know what I see, I repeat, and what I say, I repeat, stuff like that. So if the people that they look up to, as let me say, role models of this Fuji genre of music, if they do those vulgarism and then they see how their own problems react to those, it is easy for them to tilt towards vulgarism. And then when we said, oh, maybe parents have to go through this and help them vet it, that might also be important because when it gets to certain instance, these musicians begin to have what they call managers. And managers, of course, we only have to do what we sell. Profits based. So that's my cause a little trouble for ingestion of vulgarity in that kind of instance. And then for, like I said, for monetization will also be a determining factor for vulgarity. And then for the third speaker, you know, talking about the origin of the Fuji music, that came along that. So I'm wondering how something that is not properly situated in a particular culture becomes a thing that culture, people in that culture are now identifying. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So we said Fuji is an official equivalent to the Muslim.
Okay.
Islam.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
If we go back, we see that Islam and Christianity is not, particularly African religious system. There are some things that, came in.
Yes.
So I'm not wondering how do we refer to something that was actually loaded? Let me use that word.
Yes.
How do those kind of things something that we use to identify?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much. The next person. Yeah. Please introduce yourself so we can have.
Thank you very much. I am part of the I was going to pick on my comments and maybe questions.
Okay.
I think the issue of Fuji music not being properly situated, maybe because of the least time we had
Yes.
to work on from this one.
Yes.
I want to say that the music is properly situated.
Yes.
In Yoruba culture.
Yes.
Okay, if the time permits, I know you will mention about how very music is.
Yes. Yes.
During then, the adaptation of that music and even the adoption from traditional music forms.
Yes, I mentioned that. Yes. Yes.
The music itself is situated in the lived experiences of the people. That's right. Then the issue of this vulgarity and all the stuff. Like you already mentioned, I think the issue of vulgarity comes in on the issue that you mentioned about the commercialization of the music.
Yes.
Because these musicians are after what they sell. So if you have an album with many people want to listen to that kind of music, and don't forget that even the audience are the one that dictates the rest of the music.
Thank you.
It's what they want to hear. If I invite you to a ceremony and I expect you to sing for me so that people will sing, you dance, and give me money, cut out for me, and then you come down now singing so nothing, and that's why even Said is proud of actually said in one of his songs that so I think the context of the music because around the same time that Obesere was singing Asha, later on, the form of the music of this vulgarity now shifts to sentiments.
Yes.
And sentiments actually comes out. And even when the music of sentiments was bound to be played in public, in like one of the interviews I had with her, I said that very weekend that the music was banned publicly. That same weekend, a member of the House of Assembly of Lagos State invited our private to come and play that kind of music. In his private residence. So that means people that music is a product of the expresses of the society. Then I think the music is also a response. The issue of vulgarity is a response.
Yes.
Back to what has been the status quo before, what it used to be. Then right from that time, Fuji music is now competing with so-called hip-hop.
Yes.
And even the hip-hop are now, the Fuji music is adapting hip-hop.
Yes.
Smaller from hip-hop.
Yes.
Hip-hop musicians are also featuring
Yes.
musicians in their song. So
Yes.
I think it is a kind of adaptation and absorption.
Yes.
Please, then lastly, like you said, the first presenter, Mr. Ochola, when he was presenting that there are some few musicians that are not singing this kind of song kind of. But a lot of them are singing because I saw one video just yesterday. There was a lady with with what body features, and I don't want to say it in the present. And the lady was laughing beside the pastor, and the lady was shaking it in, and pastor was saying it. And when you situate the album production of pastor to the live play, they are contrasts.
Yes, so yes.
It's a contrast
because
what you go to the studio to sing is not the same
different
thing
from the life.
From the live play.
Yes.
So I think some of these I love singing. You see that kind. So I think this issue of vulgarity is contextual. Then the issue of moral aspect of it. We are not going to receive ourselves. There's no how we can control it. We can't control it. Even as parents, when you ban it in your house, don't play this thing. Are you going to help them? When they play it, are you going to call them to the streets? Where they play that kind of song, and this you don't know about
Yes. Yes.
So thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you so much for that contribution. Yes, the next person. Ade. Ade will do it.
Very interesting for us. So we start the issue of rational analysis. I think it's good recognize if they are male, society arts, they mirror themselves, right? What we say told us, but
yes.
I would say that the granta is doing to 25 yes, not that we find behavior, but to really balance there. So that's how that effect of society rubbing up on us and organized. You said okay about the history of G not into the national budget, but to contest your interest. I will just say that it's one it's a little bit of nuance into it. Listen, I have seen a video in which I tried to say wasn't the first person to sing which I could be my second way now of this my guidance. Right? So, but there is no intentional facade about progress and faith. But he said that it was really, really a lot of things together. He mentioned one or two names. So, of Buddha, of where there was another explanation. And we already see teaching. But that he packaged them and then this brand and it has to be. Now, the question that I want to ask you is this. First, do you think that Fuji is growing in spite of the fact that many of us now love in our love to virtual space? I only because there was a different discussion agreement on the table between small doctors.
Oh yes.
And
yes. I like that. Yes.
And say Fuji is dying. And
Yes.
instead of Shanku actually, we are not seeing the emergence of really. So do you think that social media in the United States is actually saving Fuji, or it's just merely helping it to fight her? And do you think that all these controversies we see are being deliberately contrived or fabricated in order for Fuji to remain together?
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, the name, sir.
My question is historically, and it primarily historically, what we for these use of news is, and I remember that the fourth issue was the what I call MENA, Middle East, and Northern. The fourth edition was in order to sponge music from Islam.
Yes.
Another 2 points that she added is that the Federation of Saints,
Oh, yes.
science, and stuff like that. And that became one of the key factors that brought the spread of Islam. Side by side, let's look at the strength. I remember also that in Christian Missionary Society, the parent of that, the Anglican.
The Anglican, yes.
Yeah, they use most especially African music.
Yes.
African music. And I remember that in the early 40s, at 30s and 40s, the likes of Dr. July, who of course was a pastor, he went around Africa and asking more Americans what as music got to true needs, Christianity, especially because as I did, African music, African history were leading in the church. Now today, now speaking, a presence all is in both these important religions. As an important point, this change coming to be what drives this change? What brought about this acceptance?
Acceptance, yeah.
And if I may ask, now we have modified it so much so that we call them all kinds of names. Christians, intentionally love calling it ethnic music. You say and ignorant, most of the so-called Christian songs were songs written dedicated to Shango, Moon, Obatala, and stuff like that. For instance, it's Baba, Baba. It's not of that.
Yes.
It has to do with the fact that these Pentecostal Christians ignorantly try to appropriate it. So what drives this change? And in what ways can we bring this forward? English.
Okay. Thank you so much. I don't know if my colleague is still online to make some response to the questions, right? Especially those ones on vulgarism.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Questions.
the questions clearly.
Oh dear. Oh yes. So sorry. I'm sorry, because of our time, I might not be able to repeat some of the questions. So sorry about that. All right, let me try and see if I can. If there's any other comment to Mr. Oyeni, thank you so much about that exposition on. Okay, Professor Oyeni, I'm so sorry, sir. Thank you so much. I'm going to look at this. I think I've read about this on some of my work. I'm going to see how I can look at this and find a way to adopt it, especially because it is so germane when we look at the origin of music. And as I said in some of in my work, and some of the responses I've gotten here, traditional music it's Africans, so to say, like Professor Awolaolu would say, that we are incurably traditional. It is so difficult for an African to divulge himself completely from its origin. In fact, after the incurse of both religion, both Abrahamic religion, I believe that because Africans couldn't divulge themselves from their traditions. My grandfather was Ogun worshiper. My mother was a Egungun priestess. That to the point where most of the songs that we sing at church, as the tunes sometimes comes back to me from when I was very young in Ibadan, where we go with Egungun and then with our pankere. So it is, I think, because they resisted in a way, in their nuances. They resisted this colonial mindset that you have to completely do away with abandon your religion, your traditional religion. So they had to find a way in between it, to the point where there was a kind of a reintroduction of the tones. What you now have is the lyrics of the wordings were changed, but the tones and the vocalizations, most of these things were retained in this work, and that's why you find it even till date. You find it in the works of most of these secular musicians and gospel musicians. We have these controversies still ongoing with I've forgotten her name recently, when she was singing about Baba, something about on my work that I didn't touch so much about, where she was singing Ọlọ́run ọkọ mi o, and people were saying, are you singing religious? Yes, are you singing gospel music, or what are you trying to do? So I think I will do more. I'll do more on that and make sure that is reflected in the work. More so, when we talk about sakara, gong, these are music that are traditionally associated with some deities. I guess that is why we have problem with the priest and the clergy singing that. If you people talk about gong, we know that Ogun, we know that Shango, these are their musical instruments. It is difficult for you to say you are a Christian and then you want us to accept these implements, musical implements that are significantly known to be for these deities, or what they call the orishas. What do they call it? The gods, small gods. They call it gods, but they are not gods. We have in the intellectual society, we have tried to change that, as we have tried to change the terminology of issue too, that they are deities, they are not gods. Where the word orisha is not the same thing as small gods you have find in your biblical text. So I guess maybe that is what happened. Africans know their way without shouting about it. They have their way of resisting these things without going completely in a war or warring something with the Europeans. I think that was what happened. So we will reflect that on the work. And also, to Mr. Adeolu Yikon, thank you so much. You have been able to flesh on what my sister said. So morality itself, it is difficult to conceptualize morality and confine it, because there are so many gray areas. And then we have to also understand the palette, musical palette of a society. When the musical palette of a society is kind of tilting between morality and immorality, it is difficult to, because this is what drives this pop culture. This is what drives the marketing. This is what drives the productivity of this work, which you have enunciated enough. Thank you so much. We are running out of time. This is 12:11. If we have any other comment, let's do that quickly before we put this to end. Any other comments? Yes. Please introduce yourself this time. So, Brenda. Oh, yes.
What was so I was asking that what are the parents' tears a music, because we had songs for FIFA or days,
Yes.
some to
Yes.
be religious. So what I think is this. The trying to sell a commodity for me. The trying to tell me to live one I know. So you have to make it look attractive. Let's put it that way. You will say it in what I think I understand.
Yes.
Even though you have changed certain
Yes.
arguments,
Thank you.
you will wear the same clothes. But we know that in 3 cases of clothes, whatever you're trying to sell to me, the company is quite different.
Yes.
And I think that if they do it like that, if they sell it like that, if they let these people they're trying to sell different religions to operate their music like that, it becomes easier for them to.
Yes.
This plus becomes like easier.
Yes.
It becomes easy for the church. So I think that that's one of the things that informs, the blending of music.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all our audiences, Professor Yeni, Professor Ademowo, and Dr. Noah Balogun. Thank you so much for organizing this panel. And to all our audience, we thank you so much for your contribution, which we will all work together and put into this work. Yes, we are rounding off now. Oh, yes, please do. Thank you so much. So we are going to round off with our, I'm sure some of us who missed the introduction of our music, Fuji music artist, that's Mr. Maximum. We would like to round off with that as we, jollificate in our normal Fuji traditional music. Thank you so much. We hope that they are not far away. Oh, we have 17.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes, very different.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Are they close by or they have gone down? Oh, great. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Yes, they are coming in. They are coming in. Mr. Adiolu, you were raising something very, Doctor, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You were raising something about the controversy of origin in terms of Dr. Barrister, the origination, in the origin of, I think the debate is still on. Yeah, the debate is kind of still on. Oh, yes, I accept that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to work on that. Thank you.
The arguments of K1.
Oh, yes.
We also not to forget his own account of the original.
Yes. Yes.
I think but then I asked you, that you feel so you guys help me.
Oh, yeah, that was what I wanted to. Yes, about that. Excuse me. Is social media helping the propagation of music? Is it developing? Is it evolving? Well, there is, according to even the older music, Fuji musicians, they have difficulty on that. Most believe that the music is also dying. On the paraphrase of it on social media, aside that, when it comes to the creativity that comes into music, in the evolution of music from the 1960s, from what Dr. Barrister have done over to K1, there is a belief that creativity is no longer there. There is now more of window dressing, which we do online now amongst and the controversies. I think they believe that all that is being done now, K1 said it, that aside the controversies, the hierarchical conflict, the creativity, he said he had to work on himself from what his Oga has done. He has to make sure that he infuses other musical instruments into his work to take it from where it was to where it is now. And in fact, it is also believed that even Dr. Barrister himself, by 1983, by 1980, by the 1990s, 91, 92, 93, Dr. Barrister himself had started evolving his own music too, aside using Sakara and all that. He already introduced, thank you, he already introduced different things into it. So I think I'm going to agree with you on that, that aside the window dressing we have on social media, there is not much creativity that is coming into it. Thank you so much. Mr. Maximum, thank you so much for coming. We are about to round off. We are just waiting for you. So please, let's have a good time as we round off. We have 30 minutes.
Fuji bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wẹ́rẹ́, àfúnjì wọn lóru ní. Barrister ló sọ wẹ́rẹ́ ní Fuji. Àti ìfẹ́ náà. Thank you.